All right, hello, hello, my beauties and bees. I'm gonna keep it on. It looks cute. I think it looks cute. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Week in Weird. This week, as presented earlier, we are covering the Eye of the Sahara, which is that it? Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is what they call the Richet structure, or the Eye of the Sahara. It is a caldera in the western Sahara Desert. It can be seen from space. And it's pretty cool looking. It is pretty cool looking. Can we see the picture? Well, dang it. I guess that's the picture it's talking about. We're going to save this location to the favorites, though, because it gets brought up a lot in the woo communities. But I digress. What we are going to do here is we're going to let this channel, The Unknown, which really likes Michio Makaku, apparently. Like, he's like their boy. Oh, there's Tucker Carlson, too, so you know it's legit. Elon Musk. Oh, my. Who else? We got more Tucker. More Michio. Lots of Michio. I guess that's supposed to be Musk, too. It doesn't really look like him, though. There's the premier of China. This is a news guy too. I can't remember his name. I don't really care about liberal news. Got some Neil deGrasse Tyson. Got Bill Nye. Throwing out the Bill Nye card. There's Michio crying. Oh my goodness. Him sad. But surprisingly, there's not a lot of Graham Hancock face here. Right? I was expecting more as I scrolled down through here. Because Graham Hancock is like the poster boy for this nonsense. But let's get this show on the road. This is Graham Hancock reveals sudden discovery under the eye of the Sahara Desert. I don't need an intro.
What's in the Sahara? This arid expanse is considered one of the planet's most dangerous regions.
Why did it highlight the Amazon there?
Beneath its surface, there are forgotten cities that thrived in a once lush and habitable Sahara, stretching across
with flying shark mechs, which that's important to remember. That was the best part of
region. The Sahara covers nearly
the best part of these ancient Sahara civilizations were the flying shark mechs that they had to hover over their cities. I'm currently covering the Ohio cryptids. Up next is on the Grassman is the Loveland Frog. Script needs some editing. I love the Loveland Frog. I want to boop his little snoot. Sometimes the Loveland Frog, sometimes there's three of them. Usually it's just one, but he has like a magic wand or device or something in his hand that shoots sparks. Sometimes. We talked about Kent last night. Did you see that, Native Atheist? It was fun. It was me and Doc Dino, and we discussed the cult at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Higher northern section of Africa, encompassing approximately 3.5 million
Yeah, showing pictures of Arizona. Why talking about the Sahara? You gotta love it.
Miles. While its size is impressive, it's what lies within the sands, which are more impressive. Among these secrets rests the remains of a colossal lake that existed in the western Sahara approximately 250,000 years ago.
This is true.
Concealed deep within the layers of sand. In contrast to the desolate dunes of today, this region once hosted substantial bodies of water. Evidence gathered by scientific exploration points to this being true. The Nile River flowed into the ancient region known as Wadi Tushka in Egypt eons ago. During this time, the Sahara...
What's Egypt have to do with the Western Sahara, which is totally on the other side of the continent? This is like comparing something that happened in South Carolina and being like, yeah, so this is the reason why the Grand Canyon exists.
Was submerged beneath a colossal flood. The lake's size surpassed 42,000 square miles, making it the second largest lake in the world. About 250 miles from where the Nile's water flows today, scientists found ancient fish fossils hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara. This shows how far the vast mega lake
there's great fossil beds under the Sahara. There has been for millions of years. We have that's where Spinosaurus fossils come from, is the Sahara. There's also Basilosaurus, I believe, that lived in the shallow seas where the Sahara is. So, I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with civilization, though. These things happened before people. But there were people that lived in the Sahara when it was green. We don't know a lot about them. They left some cave art, right? So we know a little bit about their culture. They're hunter gatherers, and later era they were herders that herded goats. But as the Sahara dried out, they were absorbed into neighboring communities, abandoned the desert because there's no life to be had there. But we know that they existed, but they weren't advanced like civilizations. They were generally nomadic people living in a from Paleolithic. I think they were all the way up into the Mesolithic when the desert dried out, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to say that for sure.
Stretched across this region. Experts say that even ancient human remains have been discovered in the same area, confirming its connection to the ancient lake. This lake likely played a crucial role for our ancestors as they journeyed through this dry land. The only way people could have stayed in this desert region was if there had been a huge oasis-like place where they could rest by the abundant shores. This lake was likely an important rest stop for people moving out of Africa. Without this huge lake and the rivers that fed it...
Yeah, that North Africa used to be dotted with lakes like northern Canada. It's really cool looking. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. That's not doing it. Well, here's the article showing the different... Yeah, let me show you guys this real quick, because this is the cave art and stuff I was talking about. Like, people swimming and jumping in the water and stuff of these ancient lakes, right? But yeah, here we go. This is the African humid period. This big lake right here. All these lakes would have been important and part of human migration, right, out of Africa. They would have been very important. There's Lake Victoria down there. This lake's the biggest. I think they call this Lake Chad. Captive desk, thank you. Yeah, I'm a bit older than Marilyn was when she checked out. I'll tell you that right now. I'm 6 years older than Marilyn was. So someone called me young Norma Jean, which I thought was funny. Hey, Dr. Tapioca Weasel's here. Chad means lake. Yeah, well, so people did move out of Africa. This is believed to have been a major migration route, Gibraltar up here. You can see the other land across the way. Aw. Appreciate you, Dave. If you bring your $5 on Friday nights when I'm doing Charlatans Web, I take shots. I take alien shots for every $5. So I'm getting more and more hammered the longer we have to muddle through whoever the charlatan we're dealing with is. And I might get a little belligerent. about them. I wasn't friendly to Kent Hovind last night. by the third shot. But yeah, so this was an important migration route. People were also coming from down here, and they would have been crossing here. But yeah, anyway.
People might not have crossed the Sinai Peninsula and reached the Middle East. From there, they spread across the world. Having this mega lake and humans venturing beyond the Sahara might have been good for the Earth overall. Beneath the Sahara's sandy surface, there's an astonishing...
I don't think humans leaving Africa was good for the Earth at all, like in any way, shape, or form. I think it's one of the worst things that's ever happened since meteor, or since maybe the Great Dying, or the yeah, it's a pretty terrible extinction event that happened when humans burst forth from Africa. Not loving it.
Array of human-made structures and objects. And even the mythical city of Atlantis might have some truth to it. It all concerns the famous Eye of the Sahara, the Richat structure. Recent evidence shows signs of human activity near the Richat structure in the Western Sahara, raising intriguing possibilities. Richat structure. The Richat structure is truly fascinating. It resembles how Plato described Atlantis, with its rings spreading out from the center, but looks can be deceiving. While the Richat structure can seem man-made, it is in fact a natural formation.
Yeah,
not something
Ember
human.
is honorary weasel this week. The week of the honorary weasels.
It's built. The layers of rock between the rings have been revealed due to erosion along a geological feature called a domed anticline. This shape was formed...
Oh, okay. People are paying to know what we got on Bad Science Sunday this week, Maya. People are paying $10 to know what you have in store with Ember tomorrow. Tomorrow. So you got to spill. I'm getting paid for it. I'm getting paid for you to spill. Let's see. We did a break job last night, but I watched you and Doc this morning, Brie. Yeah, we had fun. Yeah, we made the dinosaurs go extinct, FFS, with all the sin-eating magic apples 6,000 years ago. Of course. Native atheists, fuckery and shenanigans. I believe those are your favorite things, native atheists. If I remember correctly, when you sang raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, fuckery and shenanigans. Yeah. Uh-huh.
When a volcano erupted in the past and the magma cooled, creating this structure. The concentric rings we see today were shaped as the magma solidified and eroded. The outer rings of rock
magma
in this structure are the oldest, and each inner ring gets younger as you move toward the center. Even though the Richat structure in the Sahara Desert spans about 28 miles and consists of both igneous and sedimentary rocks, the big question is whether it might have been the real Atlantis. The Richat structure is in
the real Atlantis, y'all. Atlantis. There's nothing. The Atlantis sounds like the newspaper that they would print in Atlanta, in the city of Atlantis. It'd be like the city newspaper. The Atlantis. The Atlantis.
the African country of Mauritania. The main issue with linking it to Atlantis is Plato's description of Atlantis being submerged by the sea. However, the Sahara is a desert, so there's not much water to cause flooding. But it's important to remember that the Sahara wasn't always a dry desert. The Sahara used to look very different in the past.
That's true, right? There were big lakes and stuff, and it was a different habitat, but this was before metropolitan empires and stuff. It was when there were mostly nomadic hunter-gatherer folk, maybe some pastoral folk.
It's possible that an ancient civilization within the Richat structure was flooded by a large body of water in the area. This idea might have inspired the Atlantis story. with Plato potentially exaggerating parts of it for effect. But for the Richat structure to be confirmed as Atlantis, human remains would need to be found. Sadly, the region is unsafe due to political unrest, making extensive excavations impossible. Additionally, the remote location poses challenges for reaching the site. This has hindered archaeologists from launching major expeditions.
In the middle of the Sahara is kind of a hard spot to reach. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Oh, there we go.
To explore the structure of artifacts or buildings. Graham Hancock, who studies archaeology, shares his understanding of the challenge.
Does Graham Hancock really study archaeology, though? Like, is that what you call it? Is that pseudo-archaeology would be a better term? Maybe?
Challenges facing researchers investigating the Sahara. He points out that there are 3 parts of the world where archaeological investigation is lacking. One is the vast Amazon rainforest, with limited exploration due to its immense size. The second is the Sahara Desert, which, despite its challenges, was green during the Ice Age, suggesting untold stories. The third is under continental shelves, where rising sea levels have obscured potential archaeological sites. 3 areas have seen limited archaeological investigation due to resource allocation. Researchers often prioritize marine archaeology for shipwreck discovery instead of seeking signs of lost civilizations. This stands.
What? You mean people look for ships that we know sank instead of magical kingdoms hidden under the sea? You say it ain't so.
Is based on the belief that no such civilizations existed. The same holds for the Amazon rainforest and the Sahara Desert, regions that hold immense archaeological potential but have been overlooked. These places, often neglected by those tasked with interpreting history, may actually hold vital insights, at least according to Hancock. Recently, technology has made significant advancements.
At least according to Hancock, as if that's a reliable source, right?
Archaeologists can now conduct surveys without physically being on site. Satellites play a pivotal role in this new approach, allowing for remote investigation and exploration. Atlantis. The quest to locate Atlantis, the lost civilization, has led to various suggested locations.
Henry Jones Jr. is Indiana Jones, right? Yeah, it belongs in a museum. He's more of a tomb raider than an archaeologist, but yeah, Graham Hancock isn't even that, so I guess you're right in that perspective. It belongs in a museum.
Locations, spanning from the Sahara Desert to the Antarctic, and various points in between.
Yeah, what about Antarctica? Why don't you search for signs of Atlantis under Antarctica?
Theories have pinpointed potential Atlantis sites, the Mediterranean, the Spanish coast, and even under Antarctica. Virtually every spot on the map has been proposed as Atlantis. The Richat structure, often cited as a candidate, showcases peculiarities like foundations of ancient structures and Stone Age tools. Some prehistoric artifacts.
Are you sure? You just said that there were no remains of humans there.
Have been found there. Although concrete evidence of an advanced Atlantean society within the Richat structure is lacking, the presence of early humans is captivating. While this idea encounters
primitive humans, like I just showed you the pictures of the pictographs that they made and stuff from around their ancient lakes. There were people there in the region, but they weren't a lost magical civilization, I don't think.
Skepticism from archaeologists and scholars, many individuals believe the concentric rings align with Plato's description of Atlantis in his Timaeus dialogues. Around 360 BC, Plato narrated the Atlantis tale. Its founders were part divine, part human, building an ideal society and a formidable naval force. The city consisted of circular islands separated by...
The fact that, he said, hey, they were part gods should give you be a red flag, right? That's a red flag. Say, hey, maybe this is mythology.
Wide water channels connected by a central canal. According to Plato, Atlantis was a lush archipelago rich in gold, silver, precious metals, and unique wildlife. Its central island housed a magnificent capital city. Plato dated Atlantis' existence to about 9,000 years before his era, citing sources like poets and priests. However, his works remain the sole records of this legendary city. The consensus among scholars is that Atlantis is a myth. Plato employed the Atlantis narrative as a rhetorical device, a moral tale where virtuous Athenians triumph over...
Right. Again, but the idea that it's a work of fiction is not like speculate. Oh, so they a story and speculate that it's a work of fiction. No, we know it's a work of fiction. It's and it is a sort of common tale of early man. It's a story of vice and fallen kingdoms and things like that. You got the flood myths and from various cultures. Some places flooded with blood. Some places flooded with beer. Atlantis is not unique in that aspect. But there's other factors that come into play. These were, again, if you look at the history of these, the people that lived in this region, right? They would have had seasonal flooding like the Nile has now, or like the Tigris and the Indus did in ancient times. I'm a heretic. I know, Maya.
An evil empire, ultimately eradicated by...
How dare I call into question the claims of Saint Graham?
By divine wrath. Most experts argue that Plato never intended it as a literal account. One of the reasons for this is that Plato was the only person to mention this 9000-year-old city at the time. Furthermore, his contemporaries didn't view his Atlantis description as factual. They recognized it as a literary device. A key argument for it...
The molasses flood of Boston was a thing. Was it slow? Was the flood slow? Because you expect the molasses to be slow.
Atlantis' existence is the similarity between the Richat structure's concentric rings and Plato's description. The alignment, however, only extends to the ring patterns, a resemblance not uncommon in nature. Numerous natural processes like impact craters can lead to concentric formations. Notably, the Richat structure is not an impact crater, but rather an eroded magma dome. But it is a natural structure that doesn't
it's like a caldera.
Contradict the existence of Atlantis. Some suggest that the Atlanteans might not have constructed the Richat structure, but rather integrated their city within the natural contours of the formation. Plato also mentioned a canal that connected the rings of Atlantis, yet no such canal is evident in the Richat structure. The Richat structure may fit Plato's description of 14 miles, but it's difficult to ascertain what exactly is the outermost edge of the structure. NASA's measurements
if you can't decide what's the outermost edge of it, how do you know it's 14 miles? Let's see. Just catching up on the chat. Eventually he'll see something shiny and run off in that direction. Are we talking about Dr. Tapioca Weasel? It was a major and more than a little hilarious tragedy, just calling how I see it. Well.
Determined the size of the structure to be 28 miles long, 14 miles short of Plato's description. Existing evidence indicates that the Sahara Desert had formed several million years ago, and there's no proof that this region of Western Africa was underwater merely thousands of years ago, but it was once green and lush, full of grasslands, forests, lakes, and even rivers. Plato described an advanced and sizable city.
Like that in even rivers, and rivers, and even, I mean, rivers are there. Let's see. It was heated molasses stored in a huge tower that was poorly built. It flowed rather fast, all things considered. Okay. I would imagine the molasses was slower than a water flood, but faster than its victims would have liked. That sounds reasonable. Also in the wrong direction from Plato's description. Is that the... you got to be more clear on that. I'm not sure which part you're talking about there. I feel attacked. Did y'all hide the magnet in my bedroom? Hide magnets in my bedroom? I might have implanted magnets into your spinal column while you were sleeping. That could have happened.
but there's no archaeological evidence supporting a city's existence within the Richat structure 12,000 years ago. No remains of a city's worth of artifacts or Atlantean technology have been found. What has been discovered are notable accumulations of Acheulean artifacts, especially along the outermost annular depression of the structure. Acheulean artifacts refer to tools used by early humans. Archaic humans, such as Homo erectus, used these tools as far back as 1.78.
So are you claiming that Atlantis was populated by Homo erectus? That'd be badass. It'd be like Planet of the Apes, kinda.
8 million years ago. But they weren't the only users, of course. Pre-Acheulean tools have also been found. Neolithic artifacts, though sparse and scattered, have also been uncovered. However, within the innermost depressions of the structure, artifacts are generally absent. The absence of recognizable man-made structures or midden deposits suggests that the Richat structure may have been used primarily for short-term hunting and tool production. We won't be able to...
Time period you're talking about, that's who would have lived there, so yeah. Hunter-gatherer people.
Figure out more unless we conduct more extensive research and significant excavation efforts within the Richat structure. Where else? If Atlantis isn't in the Sahara, then where else?
Atlantis.
In a Netflix series called Ancient Apocalypse, presented by author Graham Hancock, it's proposed that an advanced culture was destroyed by floods caused by a huge comet's impact on Earth. This disaster is believed to have inspired the Atlantis legend. According to Hancock, survivors of this catastrophe spread worldwide, sharing knowledge of science, technology,
because they were hyper advanced. They had like super crystal technology and stuff. It was really, really weird. And maybe they destroyed themselves with vibrating crystals. We don't know.
Culture and grand buildings with simple hunter-gatherer societies. He suggests that we owe much.
What did Al do? Why does John Hudson hate Al?
To these exceptional individuals. Hancock's ideas have been in his books for a long time. He accuses mainstream academia of being overly defensive and dismissive of his views. Archaeologists criticize Ancient Apocalypse for lacking solid evidence to back its claims. They don't hate Hancock. They just strongly disagree with him. As for Atlantis' possible location, many experts lean toward the theory.
Let's look, Ember. So, the Pillars of Hercules. Okay, so that's up here in the Strait of Gibraltar. So beyond the Pillars of Hercules, maybe a little bit. You think south would be south, like they'd say south beyond the Pillars, but there's nothing else out here. Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Think it could have been in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge right here? Lost continent. I don't think it was real at all, but, you know. So be it. Lost my place. Hold on. There we go.
That the Greek island of Santorini's destruction and its impact on Crete could be the origin of the Atlantis story. They attribute the catastrophe to volcanic eruptions, not wandering comets. Moreover, while Ancient Apocalypse suggests the destruction happened 12,000 years ago, most alternative views...
I'm more prone to accept that Atlantis was based loosely around the Miocene... Miocene? Is that the Minotaur people that lived on Crete? The fall of their civilization, maybe a splash of Pompeii.
To around 1630 BC, when Santorini exploded in an incredibly violent volcanic event. This explosion, hurling massive amounts of rock into the atmosphere, caused massive tsunamis and ash showers that likely devastated the thriving Minoan civilization on Crete. In the first episode of
there it is.
Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Hancock provides an intriguing piece of evidence for the existence of Atlantis. He cites the Bimini Road as the road to Atlantis. Bimini Road is a submerged rock formation.
Bimini Road is also has tectonic origins and is I believe laid down by a lava flow.
And located off the coast of the Bahama island of North Bimini. The road is about 18 feet below the surface of the water and consists of limestone blocks in interesting shapes. Some are rectangular, others are polygonal, and some are entirely
they're
irregular.
limestone? We'll have to do the Bimini Road at some point.
At first sight, it's obvious that these structures are man-made. But once again, nature works in mysterious ways that deceive us. These structures may not look natural, but it's possible they are. This is a phenomenon known as tessellated pavement. The most commonly occurring version of this phenomenon consists of flat rock surfaces, made up of sandstones or other sedimentary rocks. Some are rectangles, while some are close to being rectangular. This is caused by cracks in
Some are rectangles, while some are close to being rectangular. Okay. This reminds me of also the Giant's Causeway in Ireland.
Rock, known as joints, which result in a pattern. These joints are also called orthogonal joint systems because of the fact that they intersect at 90-degree angles. A good example of this intriguing phenomenon is the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, which consists of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns. So
Speak and get my answer. This is also makes up the Devil's Tower in was that in Colorado, Wyoming? The monument, Devil's Tower monument, the caldera out there is made of the same kind of basalt structures, and that's why people think it's a giant tree trunk.
Bimini Road may likely be another example of tessellated pavement rather than a man-made road leading to the hidden ancient city of Atlantis. But what's the general consensus in the scientific world on the existence of Atlantis? Turns out, little to no scientists believe in the existence of this city. Robert Ballard is an ocean explorer responsible for discovering the wreck of the Titanic in 1985. He has said that no experts or Nobel Prize winners have ever taken what Plato has said about Atlantis at face value.
Wyoming,
While we're
Devil
uncertain
Tower,
about the existence of Atlantis, there's undeniable proof of the existence of other ancient civilizations in the
famed tower from the Close Encounters of the Third Kind movie. So you see aliens there. Here's Johnny Depp playing a Native American.
Sahara region. A lost ancient civilization. Countless archaeological digs in the Sahara have uncovered remarkable artifacts from various periods of human history. These excavations have greatly improved our understanding of the past civilizations that thrived in the Sahara region. Remarkable discoveries have unveiled ancient cultures' castles in the sand in the Sahara. Utilizing satellites, researchers have located buried treasures in the hard-to-reach parts of Libya's Sahara. They've revealed traces of the Garamantes civilization, previously believed to be lost. These people built massive forts and settlements in the desert.
I don't think that looks like a lost African civilization. Those look like Vikings or something. We're continuing with the rest of the video from last week's Bad Science Sunday, Weasel. It's a crossover. Paul Bunyan's Last Cut Tree, Devil's Tower. Exactly.
Impressively dating back thousands of years. The communities date back to approximately 1 to 500 CE, but they were ruled by the Garamantes civilization. A civilization that existed from around the 2nd century BC to the 7th century CE, and they were quite advanced for their time. The Garamantes left behind walled towns, villages, and farms, which researchers identified through modern satellite images, including high-resolution pictures commonly used in the oil industry. Aerial photos taken during the 1950s and 1960s also aided in this discovery. These fortified sites, located around 620 miles south.
Why is the claim that the Garamonte Society was Atlantean or
of Tripoli, were confirmed through the examination of pottery samples collected during an expedition in early 2011. Unfortunately, this field trip was shortened by the civil war that led to the end of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi's 42-year regime. Evidence points towards the existence of a robust ancient African kingdom in the Sahara Desert, hidden beneath.
I'm sure there were lots of civilizations and cities and city-states and things like that, and in parts of the Sahara, or what's under desert now that we're green. The Sahara is still growing, right? Desertification is still happening. It's enveloping kingdoms as we speak. But for the most part, what you're finding in the eye of the Sahara sounds like it's from primitive Paleolithic people.
Its sands. Even though the sands have concealed the settlements, researchers found pottery, tools, and artifacts indicating the existence of a powerful native African kingdom. Remarkably, the sites still contain walls reaching 10 to 13 feet in height, despite slight slumping caused by wind erosion. What surprised scientists was the concentration of these sites. They are closely grouped, featuring forts, cemeteries, and agricultural fields within a small area. This clustering.
Surprised by this is, again, Africa is the cradle of humankind, right? It's where people come from. Of course, there's going to be civilizations on top of civilizations buried under thousands of years. Do you like paintball better than laser tag, Kip? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Highlights the kingdom's substantial population. The Garamantes people, as they are known, demonstrated advanced skills in urban planning, metallurgy, textile production, and even had their own writing system. As archaeologists delve deeper into the Garamantes sites, their findings become more astonishing. The well-structured linear construction could have been mistaken for Roman frontier forts, but these sites stand beyond the Roman Empire's borders. They mark the existence of a potent native African kingdom. Despite the desert environment,
every time they say African kingdom, they show pictures of Atlantis. They're trying to insist that there was an ancient Atlantis in Africa that apparently were white people. Of course, they were white people.
Challenges. The Garamantes displayed adept water extraction techniques, supporting large populations in an arid region. This discovery shows how advanced their civilization was, and their ability.
Humans have been digging wells for tens of thousands of years, y'all. Come on.
To thrive in a demanding landscape. This advanced civilization turned isolated oases in the Sahara Desert into thriving homes and trade routes. They used smart irrigation to make the desert fertile, but they may have overestimated how many people the desert could.
How much damage does a Class 4 laser do, Dr. Tapioca Weasel? What kind of wild experimentations are you doing? Should we worry about you becoming a supervillain at this point?
Sustain. Pumping water from the ground to create lush fields, they eventually used up all the water. Rainfall wasn't enough to refill it, and the underground stores dried out completely. With no water, their civilization crumbled. They couldn't grow crops like wheat, figs, and grapes anymore. Seeking water, many ventured into the desert. Some may have reached the Nile Delta in search of wetter land. Many may have died on the way or in sandstorms that covered their civilization. The potential for finds. Despite the harsh desert, people lived there and traded between settlements to survive. Even big empires like Egypt wanted valuable things from the Sahara,
but mistakes happened when moving
expensive metals.
Egypt is on the opposite side of the continent. I can't make that any more clear.
Spices, and luxury items. Timbuktu was an important stop for trading across the Sahara Desert. People used to launch big trips from there, carrying things like salt and gold, but these trips were risky. There wasn't much food and water.
About Timbuktu to this day. It's a far-off place on the edge of civilization.
And the desert itself was dangerous. Throughout history, groups of thieves would wait to attack traders passing by on their routes. Traders were tired from their journey, and if they didn't have good protection, thieves would kill them and
Sand people. That's who the Sand people are based on in Star Wars.
Steal their valuables. Sometimes, huge dust storms would come and last for hours, covering everything in dust that could be thousands of feet high. These storms could wipe.
That happens here too, regularly. We were having massive dust storms every 3 to 5 days for about 2 months. It was insane. Never seen so much dust in my life. I'm still picking dust out of my crack.
Wipe out whole groups of traders. In these conditions, it was easy for a group to get lost in the desert and turn back. Many valuable things like gold and gems have been lost in the desert over time. Finding these treasures in the vast desert would be really hard. But if luck is on someone's side, there could be unimaginable riches under the sand.
Who wants to go treasure hunting in the Sahara? Let's do it.
The Saharan surface. But not everything is lost. The Valley of the Kings holds some of the most precious and amazing things from the Sahara. 3,000-year-old lost golden city. Archaeologists have even discovered a lost golden city in the Egyptian sands outside Luxor.
What's this have to do with the Eye of the Sahara? This says, the title of this video is Graham Hancock reveals sudden discovery under the Eye of the Sahara Desert, and you're in Egypt, on the other side of the continent. To be clear, yeah, let's look at this. So this is way over here, almost, close to the west coast. Not on the west coast, but Egypt is way over here in the Valley of the Kings. This is sort of the pyramids and stuff that I got marked here. But it's all the way across the continent. And that's a huge distance. That's like, again, I compared it to the Grand Canyon in the Carolinas. It's that far. It's further than that, actually. It'd be more like California to Virginia of a distance. It's huge.
Valley of the Kings. It's been claimed as Egypt's grandest find yet. This historical treasure traces back to a thriving era of pharaohs 3,000 years ago. The journey to unearth this city commenced in September 2020 between the temples of Ramses III and Amenhotep III. With the passing weeks, formations of
clickbaity title with the... it did cover that, I guess.
Mud bricks began to emerge, revealing the well-preserved city with its intact walls and chambers filled with tools. After digging for 7 months, they found different parts of the city, like a bakery with ovens and storage pots, and areas for living and doing official work. The research team announced the discovery of a city spanning 3 millennia. The city's origins can be traced to the reign of Amenhotep III, extending through Tutankhamun and
Would that be Amenhotep III, not the 3? Amenhotep III.
These eras. The magnitude of this find is unprecedented.
Oh my.
It is regarded as the largest ancient city ever found in Egypt. This discovery is as important as when excavators found the tomb of Tutankhamun roughly a century ago. Among the treasures are ornate jewelry, colored pottery vessels, protective scarab beetle amulets, and mud bricks inscribed with seals of Amenhotep III. Amenhotep
III. Oh my goodness. He's going to keep saying that, isn't he? I think it's just Amenhotep, right? It's not Amenhotep. You say it Amenhotep. I think. I don't speak Egyptian, but I know from watching The Mummy and stuff that Emotep is, you say Emotep, so Amenhotep III.
Who lived around 1354 BC, had a big empire that stretched from Iraq to Sudan. Amenhotep III built many grand things during his almost 40-year rule as king, such as the giant statues known as the Colossi of Memnon. Even though it has been thousands of years, the possessions of the city seemed remarkably young. Like they were left there yesterday, this city also gives us a glimpse of how the Egyptians lived at the peak of their empire, at the height of their luxury. There still may be more to find in this city, such as tombs filled with treasures. They have found tombs already, after all.
Does this have to do with the Eye of the Sahara?
And they're similar to the ones found in the Valley of the Kings. Valley of the Kings. Many Egyptian kings and high priests from the
This is Egypt.
18th to
Hold on.
th dynasties.
I guess this is really just a video about the wonders of the Sahara.
Were buried in the Valley of the Kings. Their tombs in the Eastern Sahara were filled with beautiful art, gold statues, and valuable gems, along with their bodies. Most of these tombs have been robbed and ransacked, along with being...
Yeah, it's definitely an AI narrator. I thought you said you murdered AI, Sumami. Your smut was too powerful.
Ruined. But the desert is vast, and so are its mysteries. It was thanks to the Nile's River that the ancient Egyptian dynasties had so much power and wealth in this region.
The Nile's River.
This lifeline nourished their civilization by granting access to water and fertile silt, propelling their progress and prosperity. Surprisingly close to modern Cairo, the pyramids of Giza seem to gradually merge with the Saharan sands. Egypt's expansive deserts house an array of temples and pyramids. These constructions hold great significance, offering secure burial sites for the esteemed pharaohs who rejected the idea of common graves. The result was a landscape adorned with intricate structures, both a showcase of Egypt's might and sanctuaries for the worship of gods. The Temple of Hatshepsut was constructed by Thutmose I's daughter, Hatshepsut.
Thutmose. All right, I'm disappointed that this video just took a left turn and stopped talking about the Eye of the Sahara. Do they have a follow-up video or a playlist? The Sahara is not what we've been told.
For decades, the Eye of the Sahara has baffled scientists. A massive spiral in the desert with secrets buried deep beneath its sands.
Are you baffled by a volcano caldera? Does that baffle you, Hive?
Now, for the first time, a quantum computer has helped unlock those secrets. Using entangled photons and AI-powered sensors, researchers have captured stunning images of what lies below. Ancient riverbeds, lost landscapes, and possible signs of early human life. This isn't science fiction, it's a real breakthrough in quantum sensing.
Quantum
Today,
sensing,
we reveal how
which should be sensing across time.
Cutting-edge technology finally pierced the surface of one of Earth's oldest mysteries. What they found beneath the eye will change how we see the past. The quantum frontier meets the desert.
The cornea of the Sahara is what they found, right? The cornea. There's a crystal city.
The Sahara stretches endlessly, a sea of heat and silence. Beneath it,
the Sahara factually does not stretch endlessly. I'm going to be pedantic as hell now because I'm annoyed at their last video. The Sahara has defined limits. It's not endless.
its golden skin, however, lie forgotten rivers, buried stone, and traces of lives long erased by time. To reach them, we didn't bring shovels. We brought quantum light. In this experiment, we paired one of the world's most ancient landscapes with one of science's most cutting-edge technologies. The machine wasn't large or loud. It was quiet, floating on drone wings, carrying cold photon emitters and diamond-threaded sensors. From above, it scanned the ground, not with sound or radar, but with particles of light, entangled, paired, and precisely tuned. These photons could sense shifts in gravity.
Now, this is kind of cool.
And magnetic fields as they pass through sand and stone.
I'm listening.
They don't just bounce, they whisper through matter, said one physicist.
What? That sounds like a metaphor. What does that mean?
The core idea is this: quantum particles can be linked in such a way that what happens to one affects the other, no matter the distance. That connection lets us read incredibly subtle differences in what lies beneath the surface. Unlike radar, which needs a clear reflection, or seismic waves that need impact, this is non-invasive.
There are mountains to freak. If that place was a magma outlet or, I don't know, WE, they would call it, there'd be mountains around it. Yeah, it's in the mountains. See the mountains? This is all mountains. I don't know if I can drop down there and show you how mountainous this area is. But it's mountains. We're like on the side of a mountain here. It's montane. Yeah, a mountain range. It looks like it runs all the way up to here. And there's more down here. Very mountainous. Oop. Looks mountainous to me. Yeah, look at that. Mountains. Yeah, there's mountains. What are you talking about, canyons? I live in mountains mountains that look very similar to those. I live in the Franklin Mountains. This is a mountainous terrain. Yeah. Definitely. That is so cool though, how you see the desert meet the mountains like that and the dune sea out there. Beautiful. Quite beautiful. Oh.
This colossal...
Is that the one we were just watching? Here we go.
It's quiet, delicate. You could call it a kind of quantum touch. From this fusion, we unlocked a new vision of the desert, not just its surface, but what's buried underneath. These weren't just blurred images or heat maps.
They showed the picture of the rocks that scoot. I don't think that's in the Sahara though.
They were fine outlines of ancient trenches, the ghost of a riverbed, possible sites where people may have once lived. In the words of the lead field engineer, we weren't just seeing into the sand, we were seeing through time. Now that you've seen the desert from a new lens, you might ask, what actually makes this machine work? What turns particles
I'm actually more interested in what you're going to claim it found.
We need to take a step back and look at the stitching data from multiple passes into one coherent image. Think of it like building a sculpture from slices. Next chapter begins not with theory, but with action. The first quantum scans of the Eye of the Sahara.
Okay.
The Sahara
8 minutes.
What happened? The Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Reshat structure, was chosen for a reason. It's a massive ancient formation, 20 miles wide, etched with concentric rings of rock. Scientists suspect it holds traces of old rivers, maybe even early human activity, but its true subsurface structure has remained.
If there were bodies of water in there, then I don't disagree that there could have been reservoirs. Maybe seasonal, maybe reservoirs that had a cycle of filling and draining.
Hidden until now. Over several days, the drone flew tight spirals above the site, scanning layer by layer. It gathered terabytes of quantum imaging data, subtle shifts in magnetic and gravitational fields.
This is why Dr. Tapioca Weasel is here. Did you hear what they just said? I better turn on the closed captions. Magnetic and gravitational fields. Those are the same thing, right, Dr. Tapioca Weasel? Gravity is magnets, right? That's the science. That's what science says.
Scattered photon returns, echoes, and noise that AI would later clean up. Unlike traditional surveys, this wasn't guesswork. The data painted something real and textured. And then, the layers came into focus. The team saw what appeared to be ancient drainage systems, channels long buried beneath desert dust. There were signs of sedimentary patterns, consistent with flowing water. In some areas, narrow trenches suggested
it's okay for this to have had water in it.
Fossilized streams, possibly part of a much wider prehistoric network. The most surprising finds were symmetrical depressions, circles, ovals, rectangular shapes too organized to be natural.
Oh,
they could
really?
Be hunting camps, tent bases, or foundations of temporary dwellings. They were faint, like shadows on the past, said.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, what's the big deal about nomadic people living in this area? It still doesn't mean it was Atlantis.
The lead analyst. But they were there, and they weren't random. This wasn't the first time we tried to see beneath the sands.
This could have been where the kaiju fought, though, like I said. It doesn't have to be a volcano. It could be where Godzilla and Ghidorah, like monsters, battled it out for supremacy in primordial times. Totally.
In fact, NASA's space shuttles once scanned deserts using radar from orbit. But quantum tools offer something those missions never could: resolution at the human scale. Next, we'll look back at those earlier efforts and how they led us to this moment. Historical radar precedents. Back in 1981, NASA's space shuttle carried an experiment called Sahara, a radar system designed to peer through desert sand. What it found was stunning. Entire buried river valleys in Egypt, invisible from above. It was the first.
This is super cool. I actually like this video a lot better. I mean, it's a lot more informative, and it's kind of telling you like, hey, we're using this new technology to scan the desert to see what the Green Sahara looked like, which is neat. Still not buying the Atlantis thing though.
Glimpse of a hidden Sahara, an ancient landscape preserved beneath the dunes. But radar has its limits. It scatters, it weakens with depth, and it struggles in certain soil types. Quantum sensors, in contrast, rely on fundamental particle properties, not surface reflection. That means they can detect deeper features with far more precision, and they're less sensitive to environmental noise. Since then, remote sensing has come far. Airborne LiDAR, hyperspectral imaging,
I just don't think that's
and
what we're
magnetic
looking
surveys
for.
have
I
been
want
used
to
for
their
archaeology,
extraordinary claims.
geology,
Let's do
and mineral
that.
prospecting. But quantum imaging, expensive, fragile, and complex. Building drones with cryocooling systems, diamond sensors, and AI brains.
See, there was another video. What scientists just uncovered under the eye of the Sahara. Same thumbnail though. Joe Rogan just announced a shocking discovery. Joe Rogan, you gotta trust that when Joe Rogan.
Oh, this is so weird. Oh my
that.
God, they're so
no.
strange. Such a strange animal.
What animal? Ah! Ooh, that's pretty.
Something has happened in the Sahara that has upended everything the world previously believed. Joe Rogan just announced a shocking discovery under the eye of the Sahara.
Joe Rogan should be everybody's news source, right?
The mysterious elliptical circle in the middle of the desert that astronauts can spot from space holds the secrets of the universe. How much do we know about it?
Now we're cooking.
Even though the Sahara is the most studied desert, it's also the toughest habitat to survive in.
Studied desert. What? Let me play that again.
From space holds the secrets of the universe. How much do we know about it? Even though the Sahara is the most studied desert, it's also the toughest habitat to survive in. What have the researchers discovered? What did Joe Rogan announce? Join us as we revel in the mystery of the Eye of Sahara and discover its truths. Massive sea creatures. The world's largest hot desert was submerged underwater between 50 to 100 million years ago. A shocking yet fascinating discovery led to this conclusion. During this period, the region had large species of catfish, sea snakes, and different poisonous fishes. Maureen O'Leary, a professor
freaking dinosaurs
of anatomical sciences at the Renaissance School of Medicine at Stony Brook University, collaborated with researchers from the US, Australia, and Mali to present the first reconstructions of some of these extinct species found in the Sahara. The research was based on almost 2 decades of field research in the toughest terrain of the Sahara Desert, and it shows some interesting findings. The findings
Joe Rogan is like the manosphere Jesus. They get really defensive of him too.
Point towards the fact that once a saltwater body used to traverse West Africa when sea levels were elevated. This elevation of the sea level was a result of the breakup of the supercontinent Gondwana in the late Mesozoic era. Remarkably, more than 40% of the Sahara Desert was submerged underwater. The same areas are now nothing but arid deserts. This trans-Saharan
people weren't around back then.
Seaway was a warm body of shallow waters that reached into the current Sahara Desert. It was responsible for harboring diverse ancient species. These species include large sea snakes, mollusk-crushing fishes.
You just showed you showed a desert snake when you said sea snakes, was kind of weird, but I think this is Dickinsonia, which would have been way before any of this. That looks like Dickinsonia, which is like Ediacaran life.
Snouted crocodilians and catfish. But why were the species so gigantic? The research has shown that fluctuations in the size and geography of the sea must have created what we call islands of water. This would have provided the conditions required for species to
Islands of water? You mean lakes?
enlarge. This research adds to our understanding of the Sahara Desert and establishes the fact that a sea once flowed through the Sahara. However, it has one more implication that supports the idea Joe Rogan has presented. Before we get to that, it's important for us to understand the origin and structure of the Eye of the Sahara. Geology of the Eye. Formerly known as the Richat structure, the Eye of the Sahara is a remarkable and mysterious geological formation. The main characteristics of this formation are fascinating, with high symmetry, elliptical shape, and extensive erosion.
It's magical.
This eye takes the shape of a dome with a diameter of 25 miles. This dome consists of sedimentary rock.
Or 14 miles, depending on which one of your videos we're watching.
But these are no ordinary rocks. The rocks in the center belong to the late Proterozoic, and the periphery is filled with Ordovician sandstone. The differential erosion of the tough quartzite layers gives rise to visible and prominent circular cuestas, which are essentially steep slopes, whereas the central region, which covers almost 19 miles of area, with its diameter is covered with siliceous breccia, coarse-grained fragmented rocks. Now, the interior of the Eye of the Sahara has a variety of intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks. These rocks include rhyolitic volcanic rocks, gabbros, carbonatites, and kimberlites.
So yeah, there we go. It's a volcano. It is a volcano. It's a caldera.
One of these rocks, the rhyolitic rocks, contain lava flows and have hydrothermally altered volcanic ash. The researchers have also found two eruptive centers which they believe are the remnants of eroded volcanic craters. This mysterious formation has been field mapped, and the aeromagnetic data shows that gabbroic rocks form two concentric ring dikes. The inner dike is situated 3 kilometers away from the structure's center.
I love me a good ring dike.
And is 20 meters wide. On the other hand, the outer ring dike is 50 meters in width, and it is located 7 to 8 kilometers from the center. Apart from these two dikes, the Eye of the Sahara contains more than 30 carbonatite dikes and sills. Each of these is almost 300 meters in length and 1 to 4 meters wide. But here's the interesting part. These dikes contain massive carbonatites lacking vesicles. Essentially,
the vesicles, guys,
means that carbonatites didn't have any gas bubbles within them that could account for the solidification of lava. Now, radiometric dating shows that the carbonatite rocks cooled between 94 and 104 million years ago. This makes the matter of tracing its origin geologically complex. It's difficult to understand the historical development of this unique formation. Regardless, what are some interpretations of the origin of this eye?
And they gotta show Atlantis when they say, what are some interpretations, Atlantis?
History of origin. In the 1930s and 1940s,
did they think we wouldn't notice
Eye of
the
Sahara,
backwards?
initially referred to as Richat Crater or Richat Butt 40s, the Eye of Mystery of Origin.
The backwards map?
In the 1930s and 1940s, the Eye of the Sahara, initially referred to as Richat Crater or Richat Buttonhole, went through many different interpretations of its origin. In 1948, Richard Mollard proposed a laccolithic thrust as the cause. In basic terms, laccolithic thrust is a geological process.
And if you want a laccolithic thrust, you can go to adamandeve.com and, oh, hold on, that's not my show. Not my show.
That involves the entering of magma into the surrounding rocks. After this, the formation was briefly considered to be an impact structure. However, this interpretation was proven wrong.
I don't think it's any kind of indication it's an impact structure.
When in the 1950s and 1960s, researchers did a more in-depth examination. It was found out and suggested the terrestrial processes were the formative mechanism of this structure. In the late 1960s, extensive field and laboratory studies failed to produce credible and reliable evidence of shock metamorphism, or even
it's a volcano
deformation characteristics of a hypervelocity extraterrestrial impact.
Maya says that if you want magma in your bottle.
There was another mistake in the initial reports as well. Initial reports of coesite, a form of silicon dioxide that indicates shock metamorphism, had to be revised later on after further analysis. The analysis revealed that barite had been misidentified as coesite in rock samples from the Richat structure.
COVID
study, which was
COVID in rock samples, what?
Conducted by Matten et al. From 2005 to 2008, confirmed the conclusion that the Eye of the Sahara is actually not an impact structure. Adding to this,
Yeah.
a 2011
Thank you. Give Brentley a plug. Appreciate it.
multi-analytical study on Richat's megabreccias determined that carbonates that exist within the silica-rich megabreccias were created due to low-temperature hydrothermal water. However, there is still wide contention over the origin of the Eye of the Sahara. But all this evidence...
Every time it says that, it's like, oh, also, we got to show you Atlantis. There's a lot we don't know, probably. I mean, I'm not a geologist. But there's a lot of things that we don't know about the Sahara Desert that we're finding out stuff all the time. It doesn't mean we're going to find out that it was an ancient civilization, no. I just don't think that's true.
Points to the fact that the Sahara was once an expansive sea. Is this what Joe Rogan's announcement is related to? What lies
The
beneath?
Sahara was a sea long enough ago that it was like before the age of mammals. It was the Mesozoic. Right?
Beneath the Eye of the Sahara. A violent eruption. While scientists around the world continue to explore the mysteries surrounding...
I'm a heretic, Maya. I'm a heretic to Atlantean folklore.
The Eye of the Sahara, 2 Canadian geologists have something to add. They have hypothesized that the formation of the eye started over 100 million years ago when the supercontinent Pangaea was breaking up. As plate tectonics tore Africa and South America apart, a dome of rock similar to a pimple was formed due to the molten rock surging toward the surface. An interesting thing here is that this exact geological activity is what also gave rise to the fault lines around and in the eye. Simultaneously,
it was a pimple that popped. That's Earth's pimple.
Rock interacted with the limestone at the center of the eye, which eventually led to its dissolution and the
Doubting Timpani.
Creation of breccia. The fact that concentric rings around the eye consist of different rock types.
Oh, Maya, you got me there. If there is no Atlantis, where did the space Hebrews go when they landed on Earth? It could have been they could have gone to Lemuria, the lost city of Zarahemla. Yeah.
Is evidence of different erosion rates.
Ooh, the Antarctic secret civilization at the South Pole.
The lighter circles near the center are the result of the volcanic rock formation during the explosion. This is one proposed sequence of geological events that is accepted for understanding the mind-wrecking formation of the Eye of the Sahara. But Joe Rogan has just announced something that changes everything.
Spill it.
A lost ancient city. Atlantis is a tale of a lost civilization that drowned beneath the ocean waves. The concept of Atlantis is dismissed as mythical and a mere story. But the recent scientific discovery has changed everything.
Has it?
Atlantis originates from the accounts of the Greek philosopher Plato. The story dates back to approximately 360 BC, when in the unfinished work of Plato, Timaeus, Plato described the world and its origins. How does the narrative unfold, and what connection does this have with the Eye of Sahara? The story goes as...
What connection does it have?
As the Weissman Solon travels to Egypt and comes across a priestess who speaks of a once great civilization. Due to a catastrophic event, the people of this civilization sought refuge in a capital with features of lush vegetation. The capital was organized into 3 circles of land, which were surrounded by 2 circles of water. Moreover, the priestess specifically mentioned geographical features that sound similar. These features include a northern mountain range and a southern flowing river that ran through or above the city. However, most importantly, the priestess recalled that 9,000 years prior, the city met its demise. And
the priestess recalled that 9,000 years later, she recalled that. Okay.
Believe how. It was swallowed by the sea. Even though Atlantis often has been sensationalized in popular culture and dismissed as a myth, Plato's account and recent Sahara discoveries say something completely different. Plato's account gives scientists the confidence to move forward and possibly claim that Atlantis did exist. This ancient civilization...
You think so? You think that Atlantis existed because
Civilization might actually be real. Shocking similarities. The Eye of the Sahara lies within the country of Mauritania in the western part of the Sahara. It extends 25 miles in diameter as mapped by the NASA satellites. This site has been an irresistible attraction for historians, archaeologists, and scientists. The reasons are none other than the mysterious and complex geography of this area.
Your last video complained about how hardly any studies have been done there because they couldn't get to it.
Something more notable about this eye. The concentric rings of the structure are closely similar to the described layout of the capital of Atlantis. Does this suggest a definite link between the odd layout of the capital?
That is like the Earth inverted. It's South America, North America, there's Florida. Here's Africa over here. So it's just reversed. The image is reversed. And this is that video that was made to show how the Sahara dust was blowing across the Atlantic into Brazil.
Capital of Atlantis. Does this suggest a definite link between the Eye of the Sahara and the lost civilization? Many people discard the notion of the sunken Atlantis in the eye because, after all, the Sahara is a dry and arid desert. But climate change is the savior here. Contrary to its current desert state, the Sahara was actually a very tropical region once. The historical texts about this desert and the scientific estimates confirm this line of reasoning. The research has found remains of sea animals. Topographical and gravitational
studies. At least they used an actual sea snake and not a desert snake that time.
Conducted in the region have revealed traces of ancient rivers and lakes. These ancient rivers include the expansive river basins of Senegal and Niger.
Yeah, and we're not disputing that. I'm disputing is your claim that it's Atlantis.
As well as the significant Tamanrasset River. Tamanrasset River, according to researchers, had the possibility of sustaining a thriving civilization with agricultural, transportation, and trade capabilities.
Did they have mechs? Wait a second. Were there ancient Egyptian mechs?
The Sahara ever flood? Well, the Sahara's potential to flood is rooted in its dynamic geological history. Approximately 50 to 100 million years ago, a waterway known as
that was a banded sea snake.
The Trans-Saharan Seaway connected the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, ran through the Sahara. Even though this event predates the predicted demise of Atlantis, this establishes one fact: Sahara had the historical capacity to contain vast amounts of water. Now, according to accounts from Plato's
before tectonic upheaval lifted the continent above the level of which it would be able to sustain a sea millions of years before human civilization even started. But yeah, it had lakes and wetlands that flowed into the Mediterranean, into the Atlantic, and into the Indian Ocean.
Yes. Atlantis met its end around 11,500 years ago due to a catastrophic flood. Climate scientists argue that the Earth has experienced several ice ages. This means the Earth is marked by gradual ice buildup and
Africa being spending most of the ice age at an equatorial latitude has largely avoided the effects of some of the more dramatic effects of the ice age. That's why they still have a lot of their megafauna.
Melting. This could have easily resulted in a good amount of rise in sea levels. The most recent ice age is estimated to have ended around 11,500 years ago.
No, we're still in the ice age. We're in an ice age right now, in the midst of an ice age. We're at a warming period in the midst of an ice age, but we're in an ice age nonetheless.
Coincided with a remarkable temperature spike. Even though the decline of the ice age was gradual and aligns with the theory of climate change, the potential melting of ice sheets could have led to a significant rise in the Mediterranean Sea. This could have easily caused the flood that drowned pre-Saharan Africa and in its wake buried the city. Deposits of salt observed in the Sahara today are considered remnants of this ancient civilization. Despite being...
We understand that the Sahara was once under the sea. No, but it was under the sea a long time ago.
Often seen as a desolate and unfriendly terrain, the Sahara Desert is home to a wealth of historical treasures and vanished societies. The Eye of the Sahara still mesmerizes scientists, historians, and explorers.
I
with
watched
its
that whole
vast
video
lakes
and
that were
didn't
once
get your
home
Joe
to
Rogan
life,
announcement.
as well as its
Did I miss the Joe Rogan announcement? Is it just that they think they found cities under here and they didn't show any evidence of that?
geological structures and abandoned towns. The secrets buried deep below the Sahara may change our perception of human history forever. As technology and curiosity push us farther into the unknown, the civilizations that once thrived in this arid region will continue to be discovered. Do you think the Eye of the Sahara was once home to an ancient civilization?
No.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below and stay subscribed to our channel for more
I
updates.
feel betrayed by the unknown. The unknown has betrayed me because they promised that they would explain what Joe Rogan quote to me, and it didn't. And now I'm sad, but that's all right. What do you guys think about the Eye of the Sahara? Is it a caldera? Is it a meteor impact crater? Is it a lost Atlantean empire? Please tell me in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind. Take care, and we'll see you next time.